Hello, my name is Kent Hovind. I'm a creation science evangelist. I live in Pensacola, Florida. I was a high school science teacher for 15 years before God called me into full-time evangelism. And I travel and speak on the subject of dinosaurs and creation and evolution all over the country. And I want to be a help in that area. But I'm also concerned about education. Being a teacher and coming from a long line of teachers, it's just been a love of mine is teaching and helping people become more efficient at teaching. And there are a number of problems that come up in school situations that sometimes we need help on. My PhD is in education, and I'm deeply concerned about, of course, the lies being told to our kids on evolution and dinosaurs, which is my primary thrust now. But this videotape will be just a miscellaneous collection of ideas that I've gotten through the years from other people that I felt were successful teachers. I would ask them questions about particular problems. What do you do in this situation? And I certainly need to thank my mom, especially, who was a kindergarten teacher for 20 years and retired from that occupation in Illinois, where I was raised. She was just a whiz-bang teacher and really had some great ideas, has file cabinets full of neat ideas, many ideas I obtained from her. And my brother, Ross, who also led me to the Lord. My brother, Ross, has been a teacher now in the public school system, 5th and 6th grade, for, I believe this is his 24th year now as we make this tape. And my dad was just a tremendous teacher to me. He was electrical engineer at Caterpillar Tractor Company, but really knew how to teach his boys how to do different things. So what I'm going to share with you are just miscellaneous ideas in no particular order to give some ideas to help improve the teaching learning situation. Ideas for schools that they can use for getting equipment. So many things frustrate teachers. Have you ever been frustrated because your kids aren't ready on time for school? And the parents are running around all nervous, hurry, hurry, get in the car, we're going to be late. Well, there's a way to fix that. The students ought to be nervous about being late, not the mom or the teacher. Have you ever had trouble with a kid who every day he seems to need to go back to his locker because he forgot something, or because he forgot his book or didn't have his homework ready on time? There's a way to fix that. The problem we have is generally the leadership is doing something wrong. 95% of discipline problems are the teacher's fault. Only about 5% really can be attributed to the student. If a person really has their class together and organized and ready to go, you can keep a wide variety of age groups occupied and interested for the entire hour. I speak 600 times a year to all sorts of age groups. Sometimes it's 4-year-olds, and sometimes it's college students and universities, and being fully prepared and over-prepared is really the secret. Most discipline problems are a lack of preparation on the part of the teacher. I think a lot of teachers get frustrated and it's their own fault. And I've got some ideas here that may be of help to you that I want to share with you. Number one, if your school has a bell system or a buzzer system to start class, that is amazing tool that you can use to eliminate a lot of problems. I have listened to teachers. Often as I go to schools, many times each week I'm in schools, public schools, private schools. I make a habit of just standing in the hallway listening what happens after the bell rings. The first 5 seconds is essential. Many teachers are yelling and screaming at their kids. I said sit down and get quiet. Well, if you're yelling and screaming at your kids, you've already lost control and don't even know it. What I did, somebody gave me the idea, and it just worked tremendously. I kept a little notepad on my desk or podium at all times. And since I taught in Christian school, we started class with prayer. When the bell rings, I would say, let's pray. I never said, sit down, get quiet, come on, be quiet, we're going to pray. Don't do that. Just say, okay, let's pray. And I started praying. If a kid was talking or wasn't in their seat yet, I simply took out a pen and wrote their name down on a piece of paper. Instead of yelling and screaming, I guess I got that from my mom and dad, who just patiently, lovingly taught us things without the yelling and screaming aspect of it. Just, boys, this is what you're going to do. And I would just sit down, and if Johnny walked in late, I would write Johnny's name down and go start right into the lesson. And within the first 3 days of the school year, the students learned, Mr. Hovind doesn't give us any warning. He doesn't yell and scream. Sit down and be quiet. He just writes your name down. Then at the end of class, I'll say, okay, students, we're going to be dismissed in a few minutes. You know what your homework is. Johnny, would you see me after class, please? I have a demerit slip for you, or a detention slip, or whatever your punishment system is. But it's so frustrating to me to see the way teachers are unnecessarily not enjoying class. The students are running over them because they haven't learned to put the pressure on the right spot. That student needs to be nervous and worried about getting in class on time. And the students quickly learn which teachers they can be late on, and the teacher won't do anything about it. Being consistent with enforcing, hey, this is when class starts. I'm sorry, the bell has rung. This is the way it goes. You may want to have a system where you write the person's name down, and then anything else they do that hour, or if they're late 2 or 3 times in a semester or in a 6-week grading period, then you give them the detention or demerit. But it needs to be a fair, consistent system where they know, hey, if I'm late twice, I'm going to get this punishment. There should never be yelling or screaming, sit down, get quiet, we're going to pray, or that type of thing. Totally unnecessary. And I think gives kids a bad taste of what education is and certainly what Christianity is. That's not the way Jesus did it, I'm sure. Just, when it's time to start, you start. I do the same when I taught junior church for 17 years with hundreds and hundreds of screaming little bus kids. You don't start off by hollering, oh, get quiet, you boys and girls, shut up, get quiet out there. I just start by singing a song. All right, boys and girls, let's all stand and sing. Here they are, chaos. Start singing a song. 99% of the time, you've got them. I would have 2 or 3 workers. I've had as many as 1,000 kids with only 5 workers helping me. With 1,000 kids out there, you get so many activities planned that you just go from one to the next, one right after another, and you keep them mesmerized, keep them occupied. And especially in science, you can turn the water into wine or blow things up or do all sorts of things. Wow, and get their attention. Lots of times I would get a balloon or a rope and just play with it. And the kids, about half of the kids are staring at you. What's he going to do with that? I'm not going to do anything with it. It's just to make you stop and stare at me, to keep you quiet, keep you out of trouble. Distraction. I use that technique. I did today in the chapel. Kept playing with the rope, wrapping it around my fingers and pulling it off, and had nothing to do with what I was talking about. But there were 8 or 10 kids just kind of staring at me as they played with the rope. Something to keep some of them occupied. So just start on time. If a teacher does not start on time, if you are 5 seconds late, I guarantee it will gradually grow to 5 minutes by mid-semester. You've got to learn to use those bells. Keeping the pressure on the right spot is what's essential. If you get pulled over to get a ticket by a policeman, the policeman does not say, okay, get out of the car, bend over, grab your ankles, I'm going to give you 5 swats. The policeman doesn't say that. He's not under pressure at all. He's calm, cool, collected. He doesn't walk up to the window and scream at you, give me your driver's license. No, he just says, may I see your driver's license, sir? You see, you are under pressure, not him. You are the one that did something wrong, not him. And learning to keep the pressure on the right spot is essential to maintain your sanity if you're going to teach and deal with children for years and years. You have to know how to keep the pressure on the right spot. And there are some ideas for that. For instance, lost and found. You have a student who's always losing their stuff. What we did at our school, the lost and found box gets huge and stuff that's been lost in there. Anytime during the 6 weeks, they could come in and redeem their items for 25 cents. It cost them a quarter if they lost it and we found it. That money went into the special activities account, and we used it for a variety of things around the school, buying equipment, things like that. At the end of the 6 weeks, though, you tend to have a pile of stuff left over. Well, that's the student's problem. He ought to be worried about leaving his coat or his books in lost and found. I got other things to worry about. I don't want to worry about Johnny's coat in the lost and found. So, about a week before the 6 weeks was over, we would send out a notice to the parents, we're going to have lost and found auction on Friday after school for 20 minutes. If you feel your students may have lost anything, be sure to come this week and check to see, and you can redeem it for 25 cents. If you don't, on Friday at 3 o'clock, everything becomes the property of the school, and we're going to auction it off. And so every 6 weeks we had a lost and found auction, and we sold everything in the lost and found box and started over, just to prevent it from building up. And it kept the pressure on the students. They would say, oh, hey, you can't sell my sweater. I said, look, it's been the policy for years here at the school. Anything left in lost and found for 6 weeks becomes the property of the school. I'm sorry, we sent the note home. You should have done that. But the pressure's not on me. The pressure's on the right place. I've got other things to worry about, and the teachers do too. And that's just an